Greetings and welcome back to the Galley of the Sun. So this is another comfort food episode. So before, when I made my smoky, cheesy, hatch green chili meatloaf, I told you that this wasn't your grandma's meatloaf. It wasn't your mother's meatloaf. Well, today we're making beef and noodles. And this is my mother's noodles and my grandmother's noodles. Now the beef part, I've taken a few liberties. No crazy Galley of the Sun twists, no diced chipotles in there or hatch green chilies. Though I'm tempted, I think the director would kill me. So let's get making our homemade noodles. First thing we're gonna do is take 2 cackleberries and beat them thoroughly. All right, those beaten chicken seeds then go into a 1 cup measuring cup and gave me just under a half of a cup there. To that cup, we're going to add some moo juice until it gets up to the 1 cup level. Then we mix up all of our ingredients. So into the bowl goes 2 cups of all-purpose flour and a half teaspoon of baking powder and a half teaspoon of salt, and then our cow juice and chicken seed mixture. Now we mix it up until we got dough. Now, could you go out and buy some frozen home-style noodles at the store and turn out with a pretty good dish? You could do that. But if you want the pride of making it your own and having it taste even better, then this is the way to go. All right, that's pretty well incorporated. Now we're going to flour our surface. I normally have my big old cutting board out here, but I think I'm going to need more room than that cutting board has. So we'll just do it right on the counter here. So good amount of flour there. Plop our egg noodle dough in there. Some flour on the top. Work this a little bit with our hands until it isn't quite so sticky. All right, now we're going to roll that out until it's nice and thin. Well, that was a disaster, but we will recover. Well, heck, we got flour everywhere. All right, that's as good as I'm going to get it. Now we're going to cut this into noodles. Probably about quarter-inch thick. By the way, we're having this beef and noodles tomorrow, so making these noodles tonight, because we also have to get our beef going right before bedtime. Now, Mom used to do this next step with hangers. All my hangers have fuzzy stuff on them. I mean, it's not a bad thing, it's to keep the clothes from slipping off, but I don't necessarily want my noodles on that. So I have a fix. And nothing could possibly go wrong. All right, I have made a noodle drying rack. So, our noodles need to dry for 2 hours. Nothing could possibly go wrong. So as I said, Mom used to do this with hangers. She would hang these from her metal hangers and then hang them at various points around the kitchen and dining room. Okay, so it turns out hanging on a string was an absolute horrible plan. My new plan is to get them off of the counter, get flour on both sides of them, get them spread out, and then let them dry for 2 hours. I don't know how she did it. Next time I do this, and I will do this again, here's what I would do. I'd put a little bit more flour down. I would work the dough several more times before I started rolling it out. And then I would spread them out just like this to dry. So, lesson learned. But they're still going to taste fantastic. All right, so you probably see that there's some ugly looking noodles sitting on drying racks right now. And you see there's flour all over the place. So this is called regrouping. So one of a couple things has to be true. Either I misremembered my childhood and watching my mother and grandmother make noodles. Or they were noodle witch women. I'm not really sure which way. But I am stubborn. And we're going to make this work. I'm pretty sure I know what went wrong. Not enough flour. Trying to hang them up, they just sort of just cut themselves when they were hanging there. Thank God that footage will never ever see the internet. But I also noticed that the recipe that was handed down from my grandmother to my mother didn't yield a lot of noodles to go with 3 pounds of pot roast. And I know the family loves noodles. So, we're going to give this another try and make a second batch. So, 2 chicken seeds. We're going to take our frustrations out on those chicken seeds. Those chicken seeds go into a 1 cup measuring cup. We top off that 1 cup measuring cup with some delicious moo juice. Into our large bowl goes 2 cups of all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and our chicken seed cow juice mixture. We shall mix that. We shall have flour at the ready as we mix that. I'm going to throw in a handful more. We're going to bring that mixture onto a well-floured surface, and we're going to work it a little bit. Okay, now we're going to wash our paws. Yeah. All right, noodles aside, make sure that flour spread around. Okay, I'm gonna roll a little bit. Then we're gonna turn it over. Then we're gonna roll it. Then we're gonna turn it over. Then we're gonna go some more. Some little flour. Get really thin flour. And we turn it over again. Now I'm going to let the flour again. We're going to let it rest for about 10 minutes. All right. Now we're going to flip it again. Reflour everything. Roll some more. I'm happy with that. Now we're going to get our noodles cut. I cannot explain to you how much easier this time is going than last time. These are about 1 billion times prettier than my last batch. So the secret, my friends, is put down a ton of flour. And then when you think you put down too much, put down a little bit more. Flip your dough frequently, flour the heck out of it, and then cut your noodles a row at a time. That way, if you do feel some sticking, you start having problems, you can flip it and flour it again. So as the noodles dry, we're going to go ahead and get our chuck roast going. So into a bowl goes 1.5 cups of beef broth, 1 package of Lipton beefy onion soup mix, and 1 can of cream of mushroom soup with roasted garlic, of course. This gets mixed together. Here I have a 3-pound chuck roast, cut from a 20-pound chuck roast. So what we typically do is get a giant one and cut it down. Into the slow cooker. We top that with our soupy mixture, cover it, and then I'm going to set it to low, and I'm going to let it cook all night. What I have left to do tonight is, after these noodles have dried at least 2 hours, I'm going to get a baking sheet, a piece of parchment paper, and I'm going to lay the noodles out on that parchment paper and put it in the freezer. In the morning, I'm going to open up the slow cooker. I'm going to take 2 forks and shred that beef apart. And then I'm going to add 8 ounces of beef broth, set it on low again, and let it cook throughout the day until I get home from work, which will be a couple hours before dinner. That's when we'll pick up our story. So see you tomorrow on Beef and Noodle Day. So here we are on Beef and Noodle Day. We're about 1.5 hours out from dinner. So as I said when I last left you, got up this morning, added 8 cups of beef broth to the pot roast there after shredding it. And now, looking at it, it's not quite the thickness that I want. I want it a little bit thicker. So I have 2 tablespoons here of cornstarch and a couple tablespoons of water. Getting this mixed up. We're going to add that slurry and give it a stir, and then add some of the last ingredients. Okay, now we're going to bump our heat up to high for this last part of the cook. This is totally optional, but we absolutely love mushrooms here at the Galley of the Sun. So in goes a pound of sliced cremini mushrooms. Not a big fan of the sliced button mushrooms. I think there's a lot more flavor in cremini. And last but not least, the noodles. First, the ugly first batch of noodles. Pile it there and stir it in. Our second batch of much, much prettier noodles. About a half hour from now, we'll give that a stir, one more a half hour later, and then we'll be real close to serving time. So my family loves to have the beef and noodles over mashed potatoes. That's what we're making next. Not any crazy mashed potatoes like we made before. We've made garlic mashed potatoes. We've made cheesy garlic mashed potatoes using Provel cheese from St. Louis, only place you can get it from. This time, just run-of-the-mill, missionary position mashed potatoes. And as always, our go-to potato for mashed potatoes is Yukon Golds with the skin on. Just cutting these into little chunks, helping along with the cooking process. All right, gotta get those just covered with water, get them on the stove, and get them boiling. If you like what you're seeing here, why don't you hit that like button? Do you do your beef and noodles different than us? Put that down in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Maybe give it a try. Hit that subscribe button. You'll find out when we release every one of our videos. That is every Monday, Thursday, and Friday. They're on the stove. They're on high. Good healthy pinch of salt and pepper. And our taters, precious, are cooking. Soon to become mashed potatoes. Precious. All right, taters are done boiling. Let's get those mashed potatoes together so we can get to eating some noodles. So, into my taters, I can't open the butter with the gloves on, goes 1 stick of butter. Salted, of course, to make the director happy. She likes the salt. Put in, I don't know, about a half cup of moo juice. And then a good dollop of sour cream. Now put the glove on, the left hand, because I'm right-handed, and mash them. This is very therapeutic. Okay, so I've expended a lot of time and effort in this dish. I had the first disastrous bunch of noodles, had to recover, made the second batch, kept me up later than I wanted to be, made me a little tired. So of course you would be thinking, if I say this is fantastic, then I'd just be saying it because that's what you say at the end of a video. So I'm gonna bring in my wife of 32 years. Anybody that's been married that long knows that no matter what, she's gonna tell the truth. This is her favorite dish. So I've got my potatoes in here. Got a good hunk of beef and noodles. Let's bring in the judge. Judge, we await the judgment.
Looks like it's hotter than the gates of hell.
She's had my mother's noodles. All right, success. Hey, thanks for watching, and join us next time. Until then, fair winds and following seas.